Welcome into this week's edition of our MPTV Coaches Show. I'm Ryan Lindley, joined by Eric Myers. And Eric, another great week for MHS athletics. Let's start out on the golf course. Girls golf, they've had regionals and sectionals since we last talked to you folks at home. In the regionals, they placed second. Abby Newkirk shot a 72, Reagan Breaker shot a 74. Sectionals on Monday finished in third place. They're advancing to state as a team.
Yeah, amazing results there for the girls on the golf side there. Haven't been to state in, 8 or 9 years, so Coach Hirsch was super pleased about that. And actually, our broadcast journalism students had an opportunity to go out and speak with our own Abby Newkirk and Reagan Breaker. Let's go hear from them right now.
Hey Clay Nation, it's Elsa and Maddie here with senior golfers Abby Newkirk and Reagan Breaker. On Monday, the girls team qualified for the IHSA Golf State Finals, and Abby and Reagan are here to tell us a little bit more about the golf team and their season so far. So first question, how has the season been going so far?
I'd say our season has been going really well this year. We've been really successful. We were undefeated in the conference. We set the top 3 records for 18 holes at Morton High School as a team score. And then we also won our conference tournament as well as making it out of regionals and sectionals. So it's been a pretty successful season.
All right, thank you. What are your expectations for this team going into state?
I'd say we're definitely a contender for making it to day 2 for state as a team. The top 8 teams out of 12 advanced to day 2, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think we're definitely going to be right up there with the rest of them, and I'm just hoping to make a good 2-day run at it.
All right, thank you.
Now, what is the hardest course you've played this season?
I'd probably say Baker Park was a hard one for sectionals, and then Lick Creek is always hard.
Thank you. And what's something you would recommend to someone interested in starting golf?
I'd say practice a lot and have a positive attitude about it.
All right, and Abby, what is your favorite memory you've had from this season?
I'd say probably breaking our top score at the high school for an 18-hole team score, and then also just being with the team at sectionals at the hotel this past weekend. That was really fun.
And what would your favorite memory be?
I'd say sectionals was a fun time, and then I think state will also be a fun time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
I just got to say, you're doing a great job with those students in the broadcast journalism class, you and Jody Gordon. It's really appreciate the work that the students are doing, and obviously Abby and Reagan doing a great job on the golf course.
Yeah, thanks for that. Our broadcast journalism class is pretty awesome. It's real fun. Something we've been doing for a little bit on the side during Potter Hour, and then we kind of brought into a class this year. It's a definite learning experience trying to get some students to go outside their comfort zone, just as like they would on the court or the pitch, but they're getting there. So great job to Elsa and Maddie right there on that interview. Boys soccer went 1-1-1 last week at the Great River Classic, winning against Normal West. Had senior night last night where they walked away with a 1-0 victory over Dunlap, so that's a positive end for senior night right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just about 8 minutes left in the game. They get a chance to score 1-0 win. They're going to play Washington next week. That's basically for a conference title. So
it's a big game right there.
Huge game coming up next week. If you're looking for something to do and you enjoy soccer, or if you just want to support Morton High School, head out and watch that game.
That'd be a good one. Girls swim and dive last week. The Morton Swimmers and Divers helped propel the Washington Co-op to a 3rd place finish at the Richwoods Invitational, led by senior Macy Schmidgall's 3rd place finish in diving and Kylie Mousty's 2nd in the 200 free. So another good week for Morton Swimming. If those of you don't know, we co-op and we go over to 5 points with Washington. It's a great opportunity there. Their season's starting to get towards those ends of the postseason too, right?
Yeah, they're getting near it, and I mean, obviously doing well. You want to be at your best, regardless of the sport. You want to be at your best when you hit the postseason. It seems like our swimmers are on the way.
Finally starting to get there. Girls tennis last week. Sometimes we try to get everything in there, but Morton got 3rd in place in the #1 doubles at their conference tournament. They'll be going to regionals this week at Pekin, so good luck to our girls tennis team.
And let's shift gears to volleyball. Volleyball had a really successful week last week. They beat Washington and Canton. So, I mean, we talked about it last week that they're rolling into that 2nd round of conference play. They've played everybody once. They were 3-3 in the 1st round, essentially, and now, I mean, looking really good. Great start to the 2nd round.
Yeah, definitely a great start. We had a home game last night where we had the ability to we didn't have the best match right there for girls volleyball. We ended up losing, but we had the opportunity to interview Jim Matson, right?
Yeah, Jim, big congratulations to Morton resident Jim Matson, and obviously you see him on WEK all the time, but he was the IHSA Distinguished Service Media Award winner for all the work he's done covering IHSA sports in his career, so big congratulations to him.
Yeah, and we just had him in for a guest speaker a couple weeks ago, and the students loved him, some of the stories he's able to tell, and give him a little bit of insight into what 21st century. Keep going forward here. The future of journalism is. So excited, some of our students right there. So congrats, Jim, and best of luck to you. Switching the gears, cross country?
Yeah, cross country, again, continues to be excellent. I mean, Lady Potters bring home 5th at the Peoria High Invitational, and that's a huge invite. So
huge.
5th place is excellent there. Sophie Kruger and Tegan Beyer both had excellent job on the course. They both ran really quality times. The boys side, boys finished 13th overall in Class 3A in that. Josh Weeks finished top 10. He was 6th.
Yeah, well, I think it's worth noting, too. In order to get more pressure on our boys, we moved up from 2A to 3A. So we competed above, and we still, did really good right there against some much bigger schools, putting some pressures on our runners and running against some guys we haven't ran against before. So congrats to our boys cross country team and Coach Zeller for taking that next extra leap. Boys golf, what a fun time.
Yeah, boys golf, I mean, 4th place in the Macomb Regional last week. Gus Rugard fired at 83, Grady Loudermilk at 87, Will Elson at 88, Drake Radloff at 89. They went to sectionals on Monday. Did not, unfortunately, qualify for state, but I think when we talked to Coach King earlier this year, and he was talking about that it was really a developmental year. They didn't really have a lot of seniors. I think overall, maybe we'll get a chance to chat with him again coming up, but I think he'd be pretty happy with where they finished.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thought some of those guys were going to shoot the best rounds of their season at regionals last week, propelling the team to a pretty good finish right there. The only downfall is we both played Coyote Creek. That's a really tough place to play, but the boys did really good, and congrats on a great season. So let's move it on. Last Friday we got a big football win, evened up our win-loss record right there, 49-7 over Limestone. Any positive takeaways from that?
Yeah, obviously anytime you get a big win, you just feel good about yourself, and so certainly confidence, and as you head into the last 3 weeks, I think confidence is huge. One thing that really, probably the highest point of the season for the passing game, our quarterback Jude Hart was definitely on target, went deep ball to GB Kruzik for a long touchdown. So a lot of good things I think going on, and head into this week against East Peoria. East Peoria is better than they have been, but still a game that I would say we're expected to win, and then tough games, Dunlap and Washington follow that.
Yeah, so obviously we got some momentum going into it. We got the passing game, hopefully more in football. Coach Sauce, gonna keep throwing that ball, Coach. That was an interesting opportunity right there. Kind of caught them on their heels.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's the key to Friday night's game?
Friday night, I think East Peoria's strength, and the reason they were out of the gate with a pretty hot start, is they have a quality tailback. He is fast, he's physical. You're not going to necessarily tackle him one-on-one. You need to have 11 hats to the football, and you go ahead and hit him, make him maybe put the ball on the ground, do something like that. But that's the difference. East Peoria and Limestone, sometimes they get grouped together, but they're actually really different teams. To beat Limestone, we had to stop the passing game. Now to beat East Peoria, we're going to have to stop the running game.
Yeah, very much so. And I think we should give one more congrats to the IESA Morton Junior High Potters. Came home 2nd place in the 3A Class State tournament last weekend at Eastside Center. So congrats to the Junior Potters right there. Big win for them. Great opportunity for our baseball program as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the second year in a row they've been a 2nd place finisher. I know, Coach was probably thinking like I want to get that title, but the last team to finish in 2nd place in the IESA in their high school career finished in 1st place as seniors. So there might be some high expectations for these guys.
That's some pretty high expectations right there. So this week we had the opportunity, actually Coach Lindley did, to sit down with Potter's athletic director Scott Jones, talk about some of the facility upgrades that we're working on around here, how some of the fall seasons have been going on. You want to enter your...
Yeah, no, I was really excited to sit down with Scott. We went down to the PotterDome. We did sort of the new look PotterDome last year, and so we filmed the interview in there. Scott talks a little bit about the fall season, and then talks a little bit about maybe some of the additions that still might be added. So take a listen to that, and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back here to our MPTV Coaches Show. Ryan Lindley now joined by Morton High School Athletic Director Scott Jones. And Scott, let's start with this. Just fall season in full swing. Actually, kind of on the back half, really. But how's it going?
Yeah, fall has been great. We have been blessed with great weather, with the exception of our homecoming football game. But we've had great weather all fall. Boys golf just wrapped up their season last night in the sectional. We had 5 boys qualify. None are advancing to state, but man, great improvement, great growth for them. Great news, our girls golf team is going to state as a team.
Awesome.
First time, I believe, in 12 years, I believe is what Coach Hurst said. So lots of great things. Tennis is starting their postseason with Mid-Illini Conference play this weekend over in Pekin. And then, as we move forward with volleyball, soccer, football, they're all going to be starting postseason here in the next 2 weeks. So it's ramping up pretty good here. And but there's a lot of great things happening in our athletic department. Our underclass teams are seeing great success. So it's just been a great fall for all of us.
Awesome. Well, we're here in the PotterDome, as probably everybody can see. But next question for you, I mean, just kind of, this is obviously the new look PotterDome. We called it last year.
Yep.
So we'll start, volleyball's been in here, and then when basketball season starts, it'll be our second full season in the new look PotterDome. But just talk about some of the stuff that's going on, maybe some amenities that we're going to add this year.
Yeah, absolutely. We have actually, they're about ready to pick up from the printer right now. We have brand new banners with the new logos for all of our sports, all of our successes throughout the years. Everything's updated. We'll be having those installed within the next week. Our gym curtain, which was beat up and torn up pretty bad for the last 2 years, is due to be replaced in the next week and a half. So facility-wise, indoors, we're also looking at possible, we had the architect out, we're looking at ideas on renovating locker rooms, PE locker rooms, making those kinds of upgrades. So inside, lots of things happening. Outside, it's always continuously being revamped.
A little bit more of a challenge when the weather gets involved too.
It is, and we've made great strides. Our soccer field over at McClellan Park is night and day different, and it was one that was really struggling and deteriorating. We brought in 2 specialists who work with the Peoria Chiefs, with Shea Stadium, guys who just are experts in that field, and that our soccer field is just night and day difference. It's a much safer place for our kids, and it's only going to get better. We got top dressings and overseatings, everything ramping up next week as well after our home season gets done. Softball, lots of renovations have been completed, more to come, more things for baseball. So it's a never-ending process to keep our facilities top-notch, but we also want to make sure that obviously they're safe, but we also want to have the best facilities in the Mid-Illini and in the area.
Yeah, let's kind of just take us behind the scenes a second, because that's kind of one of the things we like to do is kind of, people see the stuff on the surface, but I mean, that's kind of more behind the scenes type stuff. In your role, I mean, how much time do you spend thinking about, I guess I would say, thinking about the stuff that nobody really gives a second thought to?
It happens a lot, and it's difficult, but I try to stay a step ahead of a lot of different things. And I just think of Saturday during the band competition as one of the examples. As I'm sitting at the band competition and watching the kids, and I'm watching on my phone you broadcast the junior high game, and I'm thinking, okay, those kids are gonna they're gonna finish top 2 in state. They're going to be riding or coming through the city with a fire truck later on that afternoon. Well, I got bands performing, all over the place, and we've got to make sure, okay, now I just start trying to think ahead, a step ahead, and contacting Mr. Carter and Mr. Hammond over there to say, hey, maybe keep the fire truck to the west side of town so we don't, interfere with the band competition and from a traffic standpoint. So there's just a lot of things you try to anticipate. You do the best you can. You fail a lot, but then you learn from it and make sure you don't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, and let me just kind of wrap up with this. I mean, what's something, and I know there's a lot you mentioned, obviously tremendous success and a lot of fun new things that we're going to add this year, but maybe what's something that you're looking forward to as we continue here in 22-23 school year? One
of the nice things, last year we did an interest survey with our kids, and we had a lot of great input. We had about 70% of the students respond. So we're taking it to the next step. We're adding bowling this winter. So we're going to have girls and boys bowling starting up this winter. We're going through that process now of getting the job posted and getting a coach hired, obviously, and then we've been working with the bowling alley. Badminton, there's been a ton of interest in. Yeah. We are going to start it out as an intramural. There's nobody within about 120 miles for us to play. So we want to start it out, keep that interest up, but then if we can start looking at tournaments up in the Chicago area or St. Louis metro area. We also, competitive dance was something that was big on the interest survey. Coach Byer took it upon herself to just be the go-getter and go after it, and both junior varsity and varsity dance are going to be competing this winter. So the cooperation between the district supporting it, our kids being interested in it, and the coaches really being 100% behind it and getting involved and being like, okay, let's take it to another level. It's been so awesome. The process to watch, to be part of, and just see the responses from everybody involved has been awesome. That's awesome. And I know I got a couple students in class who I know love bowling, so I think that one's going to be a big hit. I look forward to seeing them out there on the lanes. Yeah, we'll get you an extra bowling shirt, you and Coach Myers, because I can't wait to pick those out. There you go. Awesome. Well, Scott, thank you so much for joining us. Folks, stick around. We'll be back with a little more right after this.
Wow, that was a great interview right there, Ryan. Lots of things happening here around PotterDome and Morton High School for that general. As we move into, we're getting closer to that that basketball season, using that PotterDome and making it come alive on Friday and Saturday nights. So great job to you, and thank you for Mr. Jones for hanging out with us on One Morning this week. So what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously another exciting week of Potter's athletics. I mean, we're getting close to that postseason, which is always the most exciting time of the year. I mean, obviously we mentioned it earlier, but just to reiterate, soccer is going to play for a conference title next week against Washington. So, I mean, some huge stuff coming up. If you are looking for something to do, make sure you check 8 to 18, check the schedules, see when teams are at home, come out and watch. There's a lot of really exciting stuff coming up.
Tons for sure. As well as if you like these videos or anything else that the Morton 709 District is doing currently, please help us subscribe Morton Potter TV on YouTube, and every subscribe, every like, they all help, even though it sounds super cliche. We're trying to build that brand up and we're getting there. So again, if you could subscribe, that'd be awesome. So for Ryan Lindley, I'm Eric Myers. Until next week, thank you very much.